Hello everyone, I wanted to shoot this video to really discuss how we're going to be finishing the course out over the next couple of weeks. So before we get into my discussion, get your syllabus. All right, so if you don't have it, pause the video and then come back and we're going to walk through the next 2 weeks of the course. All right, great. Hopefully you're back. You got your syllabus in hand and let's talk about how we're going to complete this course. Yes, we are almost done. So, this week we have is another one of those double module weeks, like we had before. So we're going to be doing module 6 and 7. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to open module 8. So let's talk about some strategies on how you may wish to complete this. But before we do that, let me tell you, we're going to do a syllabus change. Take note, syllabus change. To make things a little bit more manageable for you in these final 2 weeks. In these final 2 weeks, you're doing 2 modules. You're doing 3 modules in the final 2 weeks, I should say. That we're going to eliminate the progress journal in module 6. I'll say that again. We are going to eliminate the progress journal in module 6. So scratch that off. I'm just going to double the point value of the progress journal that is due in module 7, so we're retaining the same amount of points for the course, which is 1,000. All right, so there's that syllabus notification. All right, so here's some recommendations, or here's how you may want to think about completing. We have 3 modules to complete in 2 weeks. We are scheduled to complete 2 modules, 6 and 7, this week at the end of Sunday. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask that you complete Module 6 on time, Sunday at midnight this week. Module 7, up to you when you want to complete that, as long as it's completed by the end of the course. My recommendation is that you take a couple of extra days to finish Module 7. Maybe you turn it in or get everything in by Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week. And then that gives you, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to finish up the course. Okay, so that would be my recommendation if you are going to stretch it out a little bit to give yourself some more time. Again, we do have to complete 3 modules in the next 2 weeks. Kind of how you get there is somewhat up to you. I do ask that Module 6, though, is completed on time. That way I can get all, because grades will start trickling. Your assignments will start trickling in over the next couple of weeks, but I can get all grading of Module 6 completed early next week is my goal. Okay, so let's stick to that, and we'll try to do that. And we removed one project. We removed the progress journal out of Module 6. All right, let's talk a little bit about actually what we're doing. So in Module 6, then, we're just going to have a learning activity and a quiz. Not too bad. Module 7, you're going to have a progress journal, the one with the double points on it. Going to have a learning activity and another module quiz. You guys are used to that. You're doing really well. Module 8, final progress journal. I like to take your temperature on the class, ways that I can improve. I always like that last progress journal helps me to be better. And then another learning activity. A case study will be due. Again, you're going to get a glimpse. You're going to start seeing that case study right now. You can work on it. And then you'll have a final exam. Let's talk about the case study real quick. So I'm getting a lot of questions, about case studies, and there's a lot of nervousness around it. Hopefully, I've kind of talked a little bit that before, but let me just kind of reiterate that, kind of what the expectations are for the case studies, because they are some significant points. What you need to do is you don't have to worry about the correct answer. It will be very difficult in most cases to get the correct answer. These case studies, in some ways, are designed to be somewhat vague in areas or data that's maybe left out, but they do really assess a process, and that's all I'm looking for, is that you're applying processes that you've learned in the textbook and in the lectures, that you're applying the language of accounting correctly in these questions that you're answering. As far as the depth to which that you're answering the questions, and we all know when we mail it in, and we all know when we take thoughtful, meaningful comments and take our time in answering questions. So if you're answering these questions thoughtful, meaningful, showing process, showing use of terms, maybe you're sprinkling in a little, not every question will need this, but sometimes you'll sprinkle in a little data. It might be a small table in there. you're generally looking at about a little over 2 pages to 3 pages of material. Okay, at regular size font, regular size margin, and if you're doing a table, it's not like a half a page of a table that it's reasonable, and you all know what that means. That you're not using 24-point font on a table to wipe out a bunch of inches on a page so you can make a page count. I'm not super focused on a page count, but I will say historically, students who have done solid work are always hovering at about, a smidge over 2 pages, but usually no more than three, and they're doing great. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you just have a single page and you've only put 2 sentences on each answer, probably not going to be too happy with the grade. Made a little bit of an attempt, you'll get a little bit of a points, but again, I think we all know when you're kind of mailing it in versus taking some thoughtful processes and applying it to those questions. So, but don't sweat right answers. I've had a few texts going back and forth about exact answers. I'm like, the process you've described is 100% on. Don't worry about if you got the numbers if you're off by $100,000. This is not the real world. We can kind of play around a little bit and be somewhat okay with making some financial errors. So that's all right. But again, process, language, thoughtful reasoning, that's what I'm looking for. And that's how you're going to get all the points for the case studies. All right, so there's that. Let's talk about the final exam. There's usually people freaking out about the final. Here is what we're going to do. I'm going to do a design your own final. I have a list of questions. You're going to pick, or definitions, terms, that kind of thing. You're going to pick what you want to answer. So there is a certain number that you'll have to do. Of course, you just can't pick one, but you'll have to answer a certain number, but you'll be able to pick from a pretty long list of topics that we've covered in this class. Most students gravitate towards the ones that resonate with them. So do that. I mean, pick the ones you like. So how good is that? You'll be able to pick the terms that you like. Remember to read the directions in the Design Your Own Final to make sure that the answers are full. Okay, as long as you have full answers, you're great. So basically, it's a take-home final where you get to select the questions that you want to answer from a list of questions or terms or definitions. How great is that? So that means you could start working on the final today. Okay, because I'm going to open up, as I said, all 3 modules will be open. Knowing some of you, you'll probably will be done. Some people will probably, there's always those people who like burn through the modules like in one day. Some of you will probably be done early next week with the entire course. That is up to you, totally up to you on how you want to approach that. Again, the big key is as long as it's in that Dropbox, Sunday at midnight, final week of the course, I'm good. I have to turn around grades by noon the next day, so I don't have any time at all to track you down, to find missing assignments. They've got to be in there. Again, I take all late work, get it in. The thing that impacts students most, I've said this once before, but it's very consistent. When I see folks moving to B's, C's, or worse, it's always missing assignments that kicks them down that full letter grade. For example, if you're missing just one of our case studies at 100, I think it's 125 points, that's already one letter grade down. Let's say you did a case study and it wasn't great, but you did it. You answered some of the questions pretty good, maybe some were a little weak, and you only got half the points. That would preserve your letter grade. If all the other work was really consistent, your letter grade would go unaffected. You'd still probably get that A or that B and would not be affected by one, I guess, rather devastating performance on one major assignment. It wouldn't kill you. What kills you is the zeros. The zeros in the grade book, they just sink it right down to a letter grade. And if there's too many of them, even on the smaller assignments, will sink you. So please get in all those assignments. I've discussed some of you have some issues going on, and we've discussed late work, which is okay. For those of you that just didn't do it at all, I do accept late work. There will be a small haircut on points to be fair to those individuals that did everything on time, but still, it's definitely worth your while to get those points in. Now, one last thing that there will be a extra credit So for those of you that have had me, you know I like to try to tie in the Mercy Core values to the practice of healthcare administration. So if you feel that you need that extra credit, it's going to be there for you. So I encourage you to do that. The way I look at the extra credit is this. If I have a student, and most students earn A's, so isn't that exciting? But if I have a student who's got a B or a C or worse, I will then go immediately and look and see if they did the extra credit. If that extra credit can pop them up to the next letter grade, then I apply it. If you've already earned the A, it doesn't make a difference. You've already locked in the A. So, but if you think you're kind of marginal, maybe a BA or a BC, or maybe you missed some assignments, you'll get those turned in, and then you want a little extra cushion, you might want to do the extra credit. Again, have that done by Sunday at midnight, last week of the course, and you'll be fine. I'll be able to apply that to your overall points. Now, for some of you, and we actually are running quite a few people. This is two sections of actually this accounting. So there's a twin class that you guys don't see that's going on also. But there's always some folks who are catching up on assignments, and it might be 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning on Monday. The module closes, the course closes Sunday at midnight Eastern, shuts down. You're unable to typically submit to the Dropbox. Canvas will close your access to that course. If that should happen to you and you still have an assignment and you need to get in the wee hours of the morning, I'll be quite frank with you. I will be in full grading mode by 8 a.m. on Monday. I usually get here at between 6:30 and 7, but I got to turn those grades around by noon. So I don't care if it shows up in my email. So you'll have to email it to me as an attachment. I will. I always look through my email at the end to see if anything's been submitted to me from that midnight on as an email attachment, and I'll grade that and apply it to your overall total. So there is a mechanism for you to submit even after the course is closed. But know that you got to have it in there, in that email. I don't have the ability to track you down, unfortunately, because the grade turnaround on final grades is pretty quick, which means for you later on that day, on Monday, you can go into Empower and look at your final grade for the course because it usually updates pretty instantaneously. All right, so that pretty much covers how we're going to do modules 6, 7, and 8. Remember, no progress journal required for module 6. Please complete module 6 on time. Module 7, I don't care when you do it. Just get it done before the end of the course. Don't try to kill yourself by having two major modules due at the same time. So you plan however you want to do that. Module 8. Again, in Module 8, what's kind of special is we have a case study, which I've talked about, expectations for that, and we have a final, which you can start working on now. It's design your own final. So hopefully that should relieve some stress as well. So there you go. That's how we're going to complete this course. You guys have been a fantastic group. We've had a big group in this class, and there's another twin behind, of course, behind the scenes, or running actually together, but another twin class just as large as yours. A lot of great activity in there. Good questions, good dialogue. Overall, the quality of the work for both sections has been phenomenal. You guys are a solid, really, really solid group. Probably one of the best I've ever seen come through. And then for a summer, for usually summer, it's a little rough. So when you throw that on top of it, and you guys being one of the best groups like ever is phenomenal. So great job for you on that. For those of you that are joining me for finance, because that's kind of the companion course, there's the accounting, we learn the language, and then there's finance, which I actually think is the fun part. That's where you get to really do stuff with the accounting information. And as a manager, that's probably the one that you'll use the most. But for those of you that are going on to the finance class in the second 6 weeks, another 6-week class in the summer, don't sell your textbook. We use the same textbook for both courses to save you money. You've gone through the first eight chapters, and then we're going to go through the last 8 chapters in that huge Gopinski finance book. So finance and accounting book. So do not sell your book because you'll use it for the next class coming up this summer. All right. Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. And for always, thanks for watching.